It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Alani in the backfield now. Play fake to him. Sam stops. Looks, throws. Got a man wide open. Touchdown! Seahawks! It is A.J. Barner. Jason Myers lines up for the 26-yard field goal off the left hash mark. Michael Dixon will put this one down. And this time, Myers with the easy straight-through kick. Jason Myers now has set a new Super Bowl record with his 5th field goal tonight. 1st and 10 at the Seattle 44. Here comes the blitz. May hits, he tries to throw. Ball comes out, going the other way with it. Turning upfield, it's Chenanosu, and he scores. Touchdown, Seahawks.
The Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl for the second time in franchise history. They dominate the Patriots 29-13. How did that happen? Defense. Somewhere, Kyle Whittingham was smiling and nodding. Play defense. Run the ball. Win the turnover battle. Seattle checks all 3 boxes. Seattle takes home their second Super Bowl. That's what it is. Bottom line, as Kyle likes to say. They won the turnover battle 3-zip. The defense was brilliant. We can have a lot of people sit around today, maybe all week, in Boston, maybe all year, and talk about, well, why didn't the New England offense do this, and why didn't the New England offense do that? And I think the answer is because they're not good enough when they play the Seattle defense. And I think that's true of most of the NFL. I think the Rams are clearly the second best team in the NFL. They are the only team that has scored 17 points in a game against this defense since Thanksgiving. Seattle's defense was good all year long. They had some hiccups in the first half of the season, but by the time you get to late November, they're dialed in. Last 9 games, they hold 7 teams under 17 points. 2 games, teams broke 17 points. That was the Rams when they scored 19 in a 21-19 loss. And that was the Rams in the 38-37 overtime game, and then the Rams in the 31-27 NFC title game. So in a regular season game and in a playoff game in those last 9 weeks, that's it. Other than that, Seattle is just crushing people with that defense, PK. Does it make for a boring game? Yeah, if you want high scoring, don't watch Seahawks games because their defense isn't going to let it happen.
Okay, got it.
Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak acknowledged post-game that he is taking the Raiders' head coaching job. He told reporters, "I'm fired up about it." Well, there's some heavy lifting to do there, but good luck with that. Start from the ground up. Nowhere to go but up. They got the number 1 pick in the draft. They're the worst team in football. Other teams making news. The 49ers say they're not planning to trade the backup quarterback Mac Jones this offseason. Kyle Shanahan likes having him as a second option, and he's got 1 year left at $3 million, so they can afford him. So there you go. Mac Jones staying put, at least for a little while in San Francisco. Dolphins and Cardinals looking to move Tua Tagovailoa and Kyler Murray. New coaches taking over with both those clubs. But they've got big money, so we'll see who wants him. So let the offseason begin in the NFL. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Bold move. North Dakota State paying to join the Mountain West Conference. $12 million to join the league, plus they have to give the NCAA $5 million to move up to FBS. Now, in the championship subdivision, they've won the championship 10 times in 15 years. So, guess they feel like they've conquered that. They get some people with money to write a check, and now they're 1 to 10 teams in the Mountain West Conference next year as the Mountain West and the Pac-12 do a little remodeling on this side of the country. You figure they can make a Boise State-like jump here, PK, and be really good pretty quickly?
No.
Oh, really?
Well, it doesn't matter. The Mountain West is out in no man's land. For the life of me, I don't understand why Washington State and Oregon State didn't just join and
join the league and get on with it. Because they thought they could make a little extra money would be the answer to that. We'll see how that works out for them. Because whatever they make in the media deals in the short run, You know, you're going to be able to put butts in seats in the long run and win and blah, blah, blah. We'll see. That could be offset pretty quick.
Boise State had the access that I'm not sure that North Dakota is going to be able to have.
Yeah. Arizona Wildcats gave Brett Brennan a 2-year contract extension through 2030. They also extended the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator through 2028 after they won 9 games last year. PK, would you like to tell us how much contract extensions mean? I mean, you'd rather have it than not, but I guess it changes is a buyout.
What? I mean, what is he looking for? Is he gonna be one of these guys who's gonna rise up and continue up the ladder? Because if that's the case, it doesn't mean anything. But is he going to be somebody who could have a duration of 10 years? I mean, these institutions in Arizona, that normally doesn't happen. Is he going to break through and be somebody who's there for a decade and has success in 8 of the 10? That doesn't usually happen. So I'm curious to see if that does happen for one or both of these schools. It'd be great if it happened for both of them.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
I thought that Jaren and John and Vince did great for their first night with us. You know, I thought the first group playing with Jaren, Lowry, Nurk, Ace, Keontae had a few clunky moments offensively, which is to be expected, but I think there's a lot to build on.
Utah Jazz lose to Orlando 120-117. Lowry Markkanen with 27 points in 27 minutes. Jaren Jackson Jr. with 22 points in 25 minutes. And PK, those minutes didn't really involve the fourth quarter. They got their double-digit lead. It got to 15, maybe got to 17. Looked like it might go to 20, but they don't play the big guys in the fourth quarter. They go with youth. Will Hardy stops calling timeouts, and they lose the game. Pretty clear what happened there in the fourth quarter, but how encouraged were you by the first 3 quarters?
Oh, I was extremely encouraged. It's not anything that I'm surprised by because I think Jaren Jackson is a very good player and he has a lot of skill and he's going to make this team better. And if you're looking at what the 26-27 season could bring, that was an exciting time because things were rolling. They were looking really good. Arguably, Orlando doesn't have their best player. Wagner's out for a bit here. He's been out for a while. But who cares about that? It was about what the guys could do together, and there was a lot of promise there. I was excited for them. Yeah, the fourth quarter, I understand that. They're playing to lose at that point. There's no question. Markkanen, sometimes I've always thought he goes at 3/4 speed, and this was the classic example of him going at 3/4 speed because he only played 3 quarters. And so he went. His full speed was 3 quarters, and then 8 seconds to go, you see him and Kevin Love smiling on the bench. They're down by 2, but who cares? We're going to have this outrage that they're trying to lose. We understand that. We got 29 games to go, and then we'll be done with that, and it's on to the trying to win as much as anybody else in the league is trying to win. And with that in mind, I think they have an opportunity to take a quantum step. So a long way of saying I was extremely encouraged.
Isaiah Collier didn't go 48 minutes this time. He went 32. He had 20 points and 10 assists. When they are trying to win next season, it'll be interesting to see how much he can play really important minutes. When you just don't have to defend him at the three-point line, he is now 1 of 17 from the three-point arc over his last 8 games. That is there's dry stretches, but that is something spectacular right there.
Yeah. Good. Then we already know it. Then don't take 3-point shots. Doesn't that solve the problem?
No, because they're still going to need him to spread the floor. You don't want his man sagging off and helping and clogging up the middle against everybody else. But he's got an off season to see if he can improve that.
He's not going to improve.
Oh, okay,
this is who he is. You play to players' strengths, not their weaknesses. And so what are they going to do? You going to clog the lane? Who's a big low post guy on this team anyway?
Well, it's not so much about big low post guys, although they are running some stuff inside for Markkanen, and I think they will for Jackson too. But I think it's also about your ability to drive and how quickly the help gets there.
Oh, man, his ability to drive, Isaiah Collier, I'll take it right there with anybody.
I'm talking about the other guys driving into a second defender.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think he will. I do think it's an unreal skill, his ability to beat people off the dribble, even when they're 100% playing the dribble, and he still gets in the paint when he wants to.
And his assist-to-turnover ratio is crazy. He couldn't shoot when he was having 22 assists. So that's bad because he can't shoot a three-pointer?
Jazz wrap up the road trip tonight. They play the Miami Heat. The game tips off at 5:30. Pregame at 4:30 here on The Zone. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of the All-Star game. He's out right now with a strained abdominal muscle, and so Houston, Alperen Sengun will get the nod instead and play in the All-Star game. So they've replaced one foreign guy with another foreign guy, but not Lauri Markkanen. It'll go to Sengun in Houston as they continue to reward teams with winning records. Look at that. Washington Wizards GM Will Dawkins said he expects Anthony Davis to return to play this season. Well, wait a minute. That might win the Wizards a game, PK. You really believe that? Is that really going to happen? Or if he returns to play, it'll just be, for a minute or two in the first half. I mean, the Wizards are fully in tankathon mode. What the heck? What's the point?
I would think Anthony Davis could play 48 minutes for the
they're so
Wizards,
bad.
and they're not going to win. So what's the difference? If he wants to come back, come back. They're going to be in the lottery. Are we worried about that? Is he that good of a player where he's all of a sudden going to make a 10-game difference? I don't see it.
I think it's more about one or two games and staying in those, staying among the worst 3 or 4 teams that have the best lottery odds. I think is what they're angling for at this point.
Yeah, just ask the Jazz how well that worked.
How'd that work out? DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
BYU loses again, 4 in a row, 5 out of 6. Beaten by Houston, 77-66. Were you more disturbed by BYU's inability to make free throws, BYU's ability to get an offensive rebound in the last a defensive rebound to prevent Houston's offensive rebound in the last 5 or 6 minutes, or was there something else out there that bothered you even more?
No, I mean, this is a flawed team. It's a flawed constructed roster, and that goes right back to Kevin Young. I mean, we can talk all we want about Dawson Baker and this guy Pickens, who I've never seen play. They recruited him, so I have to take Kevin's word that he would have been a player, but is he going to be stopping them? I thought Kevin Young was extremely blunt talking about, Jay Drew asked him about what was the deal with the centers. The Houston's pressure? No. You got to make a hoop, make a basket.
You're being kind. 3 of 10. Yeah. That's missed layups. And then he went into the missed free throws, too. Obviously, Keita was 2 of 5.
Yeah, I mean, DeBonce's had a great game offensively, but I'm not sure I trust him completely on the line all the time. He missed 5 free throws again.
Yep.
And so the margin of error for them is so thin. They're just not good enough to. They don't have enough bodies to compete inside. They have no low post scoring whatsoever. DeBonce, Kevin Young said it, his assistants, he said he had to look at the film, told him about leaking out. He can't leak out. He needs to, and I know he doesn't want to be a big banger, but if you want to win the game, he needs to be down low defensively trying to get rebounds because he's as tall as anybody they have. Obviously, he doesn't have a ton of strength yet. He's as a youngster, but there you go. You got to be able to do it. Houston is they're a bunch of savages, man. They ball as well as anybody that I've seen. Kelvin Sampson has them doing that, And the idea of, you got to be old. They start 2 freshmen. Arizona starts 3 freshmen. You got to be good. That's the most important thing. Simply being old isn't going to win you any games. Being good is going to win you games. And right now, BYU doesn't have enough of that. I mean, they have got to break through. They got Baylor on Tuesday.
Yep.
Tomorrow. They have got to, and I know it's on the road, but they have got to find a way to win that game. They don't, man. This thing has gone on long enough.
While the phrase coaches used to love about a player who plays hard, he's got an incredible motor. Yeah, well, that Houston team has an incredible motor. And while BYU certainly played harder than they did against Oklahoma State, and everybody's talking about that afterwards, how come nobody else can play as hard as Houston? I mean, BYU doesn't. Neither does anybody else. I mean, they put the graphic up during the game. I mean, Houston is dominating the Big 12. It's dominating over multiple years. And they're like, well, they play really hard. Why didn't everybody else play really hard?
Well, I mean, they have 2 first-round picks right there. I think they just got better talent.
Big 12 fined Oklahoma State $50,000 over an anti-Mormon chant directed at BYU during the game last Wednesday. Kevin Young spoke out about it post-game. Oklahoma State will not appeal the fine. Elsewhere, Utah State edged Wyoming 85-83 in Laramie. Some missed free throws down the stretch. The Aggies made that unnecessarily dramatic, but they get win number 20, and they're coming home for their next 3 games. They got Fresno State up next, a rare midseason non-conference game with Memphis next weekend. So chance to keep piling up the wins. They're still tied for first place with San Diego State. And New Mexico lost to Boise, so they're 2 games clear of everybody else. It looks like it's San Diego State and Utah State here through the month of February to see who wins the league title and gets to be the 1 seed in the conference tournament. Utah loses to Kansas 71-59. Best defensive performance from the Utes in a while. Offensively is a real struggle, but they go down to defeat at Kansas as expected.
That's their best defensive. I still insist the other guy missed shots. Kansas was 9 of 12 from 3 against BYU 1 week earlier. And then against the Utes, they were 3 of 12. Is that a better defensive effort, or the other guy's not making the shots?
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Chris Gotterup wins his 4th career PGA Tour title with his 1-hole playoff win against Hideki Matsuyama at the Waste Management Open. Tony Finau missed the cut. The drama in this one, people making noise and yelling, and Matsuyama's in his backswing, pulling out, and then when he goes back up, he hits it in the water. Now, he had other issues, PK, but the fan behavior issue seems to be the story coming out of this as Gotterup comes from behind to win for the 4th time.
Then stop selling alcohol. And this is across all sports, but they're not willing to stop it because they make a ton of money off it. So I don't want to hear it.
They also had a YouTuber in there paying people to yell, "I'll give you $100 to yell," and the PGA Tour banned him for life, and he tried to talk his way out of it, and they're having none of it. Phoenix, it's a wild stop. There was a point in his tournament, and early on, Tiger played there, and he had an ace at 16, and I'm sure he's got great memories, and they moved a rock for him once, a boulder, but he stopped playing there. It's like that. It can get crazy anywhere, but that's the craziest of the crazy tour stops, and so if guys skip it, I get it.
Stop selling alcohol.
Yeah.
Let's see let's stop selling alcohol, see what happens. Let's stop selling alcohol at NFL games. Let's stop selling alcohol at NBA games, but they won't. They will not, because the only thing more powerful than hate is love. That's what I was told. No, the only thing more powerful, and there's nothing more powerful than money.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Clayton Kershaw done with the Dodgers. Straight to the broadcast booth. NBC has hired Kershaw, Anthony Rizzo, and Joey Votto to be Major League Baseball analysts for the network as they begin broadcasting games. They'll be the studio analysts, so plenty of Clayton Kershaw coming up as NBC will have Sunday Night Baseball when they don't have Sunday Night Football or Sunday Night Basketball. Yasiel Puig found guilty of obstruction of justice in line to federal officials investigating an illegal gambling operation. He faces 20 years in federal prison and will be sentenced May 26th. 20 years. Even with good behavior, that is going to be a long stretch.
He's only 35 right now.
DJ and PK. Utah's Breezy Johnson wins the gold medal in the women's downhill. Salt Lake City resident and Park City's Lindsey Vaughn crashes 12 seconds into her run and was airlifted from the mountain. Looked like she snagged one of the gates there going by. That spun her around, and that was the end of her run very early on.
Snagged one through the gates?
Yeah, it looked like her arm caught the gate going by and spun her around.
Broke her leg.
DJ PK, that is what is trending. The headlines brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Steve Cleveland, former BYU basketball coach, joins us at 8 o'clock. Sam Farnsworth joins us from Italy at 9, and Jason Cole's talking Super Bowl. The longtime writer is here at 9:30. The question of the day is next. Stay with us.
This is JJ and Alex.
I got this.
Joining us on the program right now for Jazz Daily, he is the coach, Tim Lacombe. You can hear him, of course, pre-half and post on your radio dial right here, the radio home of the Utah Jazz.
When you just look at it at face value, you're adding a two-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, a guy that is on 5 attempts per night from 3, shooting 36%.
Wow.
Rebounding is low. It's always kind of been low. I'm hoping maybe Will can get to him like he got to Colin on tempo. It would have, a guy that was voted Defensive Player of the Year. He's blocking 3 shots a game back then. That alongside what I think is probably one of the up-and-coming dominant rim protectors. If Walker and the Jazz find common ground, you look at a team that's really big, but you also look at a team that's very long. This move allows Lowry to go to the 3, and he is an absolute cheat code at 3. It's pretty exciting to think about.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week you can win tickets to see Brian Regan at the Delta Center on Saturday, September 14th. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com or listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. All right, question of the morning with more than 50 responses. The losing continues for BYU. What will it take to get out of this funk? Well, at the lowest level, playing Baylor Tuesday night, they ought to win that game. If they play the way they did against Houston, I think they ought to win that game. But that's not really the point, PK. The funk includes also losing to the ranked teams. And, yeah, I don't know that they're going to be able to get out of this funk. I mean, this may be how good they are. The test case here is getting bigger and bigger. And the results are the same. Maybe this is just who this group is and what is it going to take? It's going to take an offseason and a new roster.
So you don't think having the ball with 11 seconds to go down by a point against Arizona means they cannot beat them, or similar situations, a very close loss to UConn and very close loss to obviously Kansas, and they did lead by 9 late in the game. I
think the Kansas one is
opportunities at Texas Tech.
I think the Kansas one is more encouraging. The Arizona game, they're going to play them again at Tucson. They had their chance at home. They missed it. No, I don't think they're going to do it when they go to Arizona. And a neutral tournament, maybe they get them again in the Big 12. There's a chance. But on the whole, if they play 3 more games against ranked teams, do I think they're going to win them all? They maybe win one. I mean, at some point they should win one of these. But you get to the NCAA tournament when it really matters, and you have to play 2 or 3 of them in a row to get to a Final Four, which was the stated goal. No, I don't see that happening. Could they pick one off along the way? Yes, and they probably should. But I don't know that winning one of those gets them out of their funk. Maybe it does. Maybe it changes the mindset and they catch fire. We've seen teams catch fire in March before. It could happen. Do I think it will? Probably not. For most teams, it doesn't happen. But you're right. It does happen for teams sometimes.
As I look at this team, it has deficiencies. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick them to go to the Final Four. I'm not sure I ever picked them to go to the Final Four. I really didn't think about whether I picked them to go to the Final Four or not, so I can't say I did or I didn't. I wasn't really worried about that because when their season starts, we're eyeball deep in college football. I'm not really thinking about it.
And there's so much that can happen. And tell me about your draw later on. Right.
But now is the time we are thinking about it because football is over. Sad to say.
It is.
Another sport has come and gone.
I know.
I'm sad about it.
Time is marching on.
Every time a season ends, I don't care what the season is, I have a little bit of sadness because we get so wrapped up in that particular season, whichever season it is, and then it's gone, and that season's never coming back, and now we got to wait, and then next summer comes, and we'll be fired up again, and that's the way it works, right? It's like a vacation. If you have a great vacation, you anticipate it, and then you enjoy it, and then when it's gone, it's sad, and then you set your sights on the next one, whenever that may be, if you're fortunate enough to be in that position. So now is the time where I am heavily, and we are heavily focused on basketball, and in this case, the Cougar basketball team, along with the Aggies. The Utes obviously are still rebuilding there. So as I look this, it doesn't look like it's a Final Four team, but what am I looking for in terms of points of interest. I don't think it's hopeless. I think that's the thing that I can say. But that's not a very powerful, encouraging statement by saying I don't think it's hopeless. So I'm not trying to kid anybody here, acting like, oh yeah, I'm on this bandwagon. My gosh, they've had all these close losses. All they got to do is this or that, just tweak something here and there, and they're going to win these games. I can't say that. I'm going for like the minimum in terms of positivity is it's not hopeless, which is not a ringing endorsement.
I expect them to beat Baylor Tuesday, and I expect them to beat Colorado Saturday. But the big games at Arizona, and they've got Iowa State and Texas Tech at home. Do I think they're going to win in Arizona? I don't. Now, I know they went up to Gonzaga when Gonzaga was number one, and I didn't think they were going to win then either.
Don't worry about that. They beat Arizona last year. You don't have to go back years.
No, I know, but Arizona
you would never pick
Arizona
Utah or the Cougars going into McHale and winning.
They probably would.
Right.
You're right.
That doesn't change anything.
But Iowa State and Texas Tech, would I pick them to win both of those games at home right now? No, I wouldn't. Do I think they could pick off one of them? Yes, I do.
I could see them winning both. That's not that big of a deal.
That would I think it'd be a big enough deal to change mentality, and confidence is a powerful thing. So
I agree.
If you're going to get on a roll in March,
it's not a big deal where it's an outrageous accomplishment. Oh man, I didn't see that coming. That's a shocker. I'm not going to go that far.
If they could pull that off, maybe that gives them some jet fuel in March. Because in each of these losses, you're right. You can woulda, coulda, shoulda. They're not getting beat by 40. And so you can woulda, coulda, shoulda these games because it did look good in Kansas with 9 minutes to go. It did. At Houston.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. You're right. Yes, Texas Tech. They've had chances. They've had opportunities. And you can woulda, coulda, shoulda hit it. But at this point, also when I'm 5 games deep, and I got to admit, I discount Connecticut, which could be the most encouraging of them all because they weren't at home, and Connecticut looks like they're very good, but it was just so long ago. Teams changed from mid-November when they played that game. So I got to say this is weighted towards the 4 conference games that I've watched them lose. And
that's selective. We do whatever you want on that. That's your call. They played them tough. I really don't think BYU's changed. Maybe Connecticut. I did watch the Connecticut St. John's game the other night, Friday, I think it was. The situation with BYU is when I saw them play in person in Vegas in Villanova, against Villanova, and they won that game. The thing that was glaring to me, absolutely 100% glaring, sitting under the basket, was they're going to have trouble rebounding. And I asked Kevin Young about that. And then they had a home game a week later. And I went to that game. I asked him again. It was glaring to me from literally game 1 that they were going to have some holes on the rebounding, particularly with the offensive rebounding. They have to send – DeBonsa has to be there. Mm-hmm. There's no question. And I would strongly say Davis and Saunders have to be there. Wright is probably only going to get a long rebound. He's playing outside, obviously, and he's short. So I'm not expecting him. But those other guys are going to have to do it because they don't have enough muscle. They don't have enough guys that want to do the dirty work. DeBonsa and Saunders aren't going to get to the NBA by doing the dirty work. I mean, DeBonsa is a sure thing to be in the NBA. Saunders has a very, very good chance, but it's going to be his other assets and skills. But this team at this time needs those guys to rush to the defensive glass, no matter where they are on the court. That's just going to have happen for them, or they're going to continue to get beat. I noticed it and asked Kevin Young the very first game. The things that plagued them then are still plaguing them now. They have no post players with any offensive proficiency whatsoever. Zero. They don't got anything. A putback and a dunk. That's it. You got to put the ball on the floor, do any kind of post move. It's simply not there. And so that's always going to be a problem. But they can't pick up anybody else on the waiver wire. They already got one dude, and it's too late now. If they did that, it would just be shocking. So that's what you're going to have to do. These guys, all those assistant coaches and everything that they got, they're going to have to figure out ways. The good thing is they're not getting smoked. I mean, you can argue, and it is. It's what, and we said this a million times over. It's what losers do. They figure out, well, if we could have done this, or maybe you just go the easy way and blame the referee, or this or that. And that's true. They're going to have to shoot a high percentage from the free throw line every single game and limit offensive rebounds. And I know they had a few on their own, but the problem is I think they actually might have even out-rebounded those guys.
On the offensive boards. Yeah, BYU had 14 and Houston had 13. Yeah. The problem was the 5 or 6 offensive rebounds Houston got in the last 5 minutes when they absolutely had to have them. They got them. They got them.
BYU's guys, when they get the offensive rebound, so what? Because if it's their big guys, what are they going to do with it? They can't do anything. They don't have the skill sets that allow them to do something with it. So what they need to do is tell us, if you should be fortunate enough to get an offensive rebound, look to go back outside and set it up again. Yeah. Because they apparently don't have the skill to be able to score. So you got the offensive rebound. Don't we look to think, oh, put it back. You're right there. And Houston's guys, they can do that, obviously. So it's not like go back to the drawing board and start from scratch, but they got to continue to refine this. And I know right now that I'm eyeball deep in their team and their season, doesn't look like a Final Four team whatsoever. But don't worry about that. That's they still have a month to go in the regular season. I think they're like 2 days shy of 1 month before the regular season ends. And then you got the conference tournament. Mm-hmm. So we're still 7 weeks away from the NCAA tournament. So put that aside and just figure out ways to get better and clean up what you need to clean up and show that intensity, right? We all are happy with the level of play. They weren't smoked. They stood in the game against a top-ranked team, a team that was in the finals last year and all that stuff. 2 draft picks they're going to go this year for sure. And you went toe-to-toe. Okay, see if you can just do a little bit more. And if you can, you got a shot. If you can, then you don't.
Tons of fans weighing on this. What will it take? Clinton is right there with the point you just made. Rebounds, interior people who can make a layup. How about some free throws? So there it is. Brady, we lost to Arizona, Kansas, Houston, Oklahoma State. The first 3 teams might get to a Final Four. It's not like we lose to bad teams, other than Oklahoma State. Anything could happen in March. Brady's holding out hope.
Well, I don't know if anything can happen, but things can happen. And I wouldn't classify Oklahoma State as a bad team. I think that's not true. They're okay. It was a quad 1 loss, so however they figure that stuff out, they're okay in that situation. But yeah, they do have to do some things, and it's clear, it's obvious. You don't have to be a big basketball mind to do it. And I like Kevin Young, man. I think he can figure it out. I believe in his ability. He's a new coach too, in terms of things that are happening right now are a lot of things that he's going through and figuring out stuff and figuring out the league, because this is only his 2nd year in the league. Kelvin Sampson is his 90th year coaching college ball, it seems. So, maybe there's a little bit of a disadvantage there, but it's not anything that Kevin Young himself can't overcome, because I believe he can. And I like he showed a little PO'd attitude in the media the other day. Free throws, can you do? Nope. He was about to pass out. He showed a little bit of attitude, and then he backed off of that and basically apologized without saying I'm sorry, and then offered a deeper explanation of why he took Devonsa out. He's trying to get Devonsa a blow, but my gosh, if he tries to get him a blow and piggyback it off a timeout, okay, and then it ends up, wow, I got to get him right back in. I mean, he's sort of, the proverbial rock in a hard place there. You want to get him an opportunity to get off his feet for a minute or two, but then you got to get him right back in. You can't. And they do all that stuff with the sports science to know when guys are tired and yada, yada. And so I trust them on that. It's just a situation that they have. They just, against these great teams, they just have to minimize mistakes. And they did pretty well on the turnovers too, as far as that goes. Much better than in what it was, and which was an abomination in the first part of the game against Oklahoma State. It was atrocious, the soft, easy turnovers. Well, they clean that up. It's like, you got this big wall there, the Hoover Dam in the old Chevy Chase movies, and you plug up one and then something else leaks. And then, next thing you know, you got a flood. They got to figure out a way to plug up all these leaks on this team. And will they be able to do it? I think they won't go winless against these ranked teams. That would be bad, obviously, if they went winless against every ranked team. I think they can. You just mentioned the two.
Yep.
In a sense, they've got to get those two, man. They really have to get those two at home. That's big. Those will be considered big games, and maybe they could pick off someone else along the way, whether it be during the regular season or conference tournament, because they need to generate some positive momentum against the best.
8 games left in the regular season, 3 of them against ranked opponents. We will see what the Cougars do Tuesday night at Baylor. I would expect the losing streak ends there, and they get the win. When we come back, the Super Bowl. What was good about the big game, the last game for another 200 days? We'll get to that next. Stay with us. Join Scotty G Thursday, noon to 3. Minky Couture and Layden, the best blanket ever is also the best Valentine's gift ever. Question up on our Facebook page, what was good about the Super Bowl? Tyson stole my answer. Tyson probably stole a lot of people's answer. Well, the Seahawks defense, insane. MVP to that whole defensive line. They were causing all sorts of levels of havoc, as you used to hear. PK, that defense has really been awesome since Thanksgiving. Only the Rams with the best quarterback in football this year and the NFL MVP has been able to figure anything out. They've dominated everybody else, and they dominated the Patriots.
I thought the kicker was excellent.
Well, we do have that. David, Seattle's kicking and punting, absolutely amazing. Hashtag I may or may not be a former kicker and punter. David, appreciating the kicking, the multiple punts down inside the 10-yard line, and obviously you had to love that steady stream of field goals. 12-0 after 3 quarters on 4 field goals violates you get 3 attempts per game rule. Well, one day you're going to make that happen. I look forward to that.
We had a little strategy there.
Yeah, I thought about
going for field goals.
Yeah. Well, I think
it's going for 4th downs.
Yeah, they just know their defense can do it. I think when they kicked that 3rd field goal at half at 9-0, they thought, okay, one fluke play doesn't hurt us. Let's see what these guys can do.
Yeah, it didn't make for excitement, and from a fan interest, I understand that. But McDonald is not charged with exciting the fans. He doesn't need to win by 9. He just needs to win by 1.
Yep.
And so that was the strategy that the game called for. And you have Drake May, his first time around here. Afterward, he received the shot in his shoulder. Something was going on there. And so it lends itself to be conservative in your play calling. Don't allow the other team opportunities to get cheapies and freebies and all that stuff and short fields. And they didn't. So from the Seattle's perspective, I can't criticize that. It wasn't thrilling and exciting. It's not going to be, there's literally no play in this game that will go down in history as, oh, remember this play, remember that, as we have with Super Bowls and whatever sporting events at the highest level. Remember this one, the Jordan shot or steal or whatever here locally, but you can go through history and come up with stuff. And in this game, nothing. There's nothing that's going to be jarring my memory in X amount of years from now. But that's not their charge. Their charge is to win the game, man. And they played it and coached it in a manner that the game dictated this is what you do. And obviously, all the decisions that they made were correct.
And then there's plenty of people who got into the culture wars. Ben, the best thing that happened was the halftime show. Jason, the Turning Point halftime show was the best ever.
The best ever?
Ever. Which got both thumbs up and laughing emojis. So.
Well, I did not see the Turning Point halftime show. I can't speak to that. I didn't know where to look for it, and I wasn't interested in hunting. Obviously, I could have found it, but it didn't mean much to me. As halftime shows, I don't really understand the principle of halftime shows. If I wanted to see whoever, Bad Bunny or Good Bunny or a Nice Rabbit or whomever, I would go and watch that. But I'm not interested.
Nice Rabbit,
who it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it is whoever,
Good Bunny, Nice Rabbit.
I just thought of that. I should have been saying that all last week.
You totally should have been. I mean, Nice Rabbit would be right up there with Ford. That would be
Ford Scally.
Ford Scally, Nice Rabbit. Yeah.
Oh man, I missed the chance. But see, that's not. You know why I missed that chance, guys? Is because I don't ever think about the halftime shows.
I know.
I get it. Yeah, no, the nice rabbit was.
Even if it's an artist you want, isn't that? I mean, it doesn't matter who it was over time.
Yeah.
Prince or Coldplay or Beyonce or whoever else. Like 20 minutes. Who goes to a 20-minute concert?
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
Yes.
But it becomes
so you're
going to
hear a couple of songs or what have you.
And they make more money off it. And there are people who are way into that, whereas the rest of us are getting food and going to the bathroom. It's like, yeah, okay. Next.
There was a few years ago, remember they had a bunch of rappers. They had several people.
It was when it was in L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was in Phoenix that day. And we were golfing earlier in the day, and then we were going to go. They have this place. It's a local chain, Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers is what they call it, right?
So the game will be on there.
They had several. They actually have one in left field up on the top where the Diamondbacks play, right? So we went to and they obviously they specialize in cheeseburgers and cold beers, right? That's their name, and we went to like 2 or 3 different places and they were all packed. We couldn't get a seat. And we finally found one. It wasn't one of those places. It was another one similar. And so we're sitting in there and we're a little bit on the outside and the halftime show comes on and the place was electric. It was, wow. It really surprised me because normally I'm sitting at home. That's like one of the few times I'd actually gone out to watch the Super Bowl. A lot of the times in California all those years, I was on the desk, so I was watching it in a little dink TV in the Daily Breeze sports room. So you're isolated. I did go out that one time, and I was really surprised how many people were into that halftime show, and they were singing along and rapping along and all. I thought, maybe I'm misguided on this. And it's not an age thing because it was 20, 30 years ago, when they started doing it. I never really gave it a thought. But I guess people do, and it is a big deal, and they want to see it, and they want to talk about it.
We are way into the sports. So as much as it is a demographic thing, and obviously they haven't been programming halftime shows for me for 10 or 20 years. So there is a demographic thing, but also, PK, we are way into the sports. The people into it like us, you got 10, 12, 15 million people watching an NFL game because we're all way into it. You get to the Super Bowl and you start hearing about, 80, 100 million people or whatever it is watching the game when the people aren't way into it. And so those people are going to be way more into the halftime show. And the NFL is good at anything. They're good at making money. And they got a plan to make money. And sometimes they miss. They don't miss very often, And it's like, it's a big deal because obviously English is a language most people speak who are watching the NFL all year long, even though there is a significant portion that speaks Spanish. But this game is international in a way other games aren't. They're going to Madrid. They're going to Mexico City. And they found an artist who sells, they don't call them 100 million albums anymore because they're not albums and it's streaming and downloads. But they have this equivalent thing they work out. And apparently this guy's selling like 120 million. He outsold Taylor Swift over some period of time. I don't know if it was a year or 18 months or whatever it is. He's a massive star. And they're going to Madrid and Mexico City. And they're like, yeah, let's go for it. So they did.
I would like to see a country person in there. That is my demographic.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's been a while.
It has been a while.
That's just me.
It has been a while. You're right. Yeah. DJ and PK, when we come back, Steve Cleveland, former Cougar coach. What is BYU going to do to snap this losing streak? Which of these games down the stretch are they really capable of winning? And how much of this is who they are? We'll get to that with Steve next. Stay with us.